right, so the main body movements we're going to need today are hip escapes. So I can post both feet on the floor, lift my hips to the point of the shoulder, head forward, hips back. I can do it with both feet. I can do it with the outside leg. I can do it with the inside leg. Okay, notice how my knee inverts, toes are engaged with the floor, and I pull myself back. Keep going forward and back. Next one we need is a bridge. So from here, I'm going into hip extension. Make sure your foot is slightly wider than your knee. Okay, if I bridge here, the power is going to go up. I need it to go to the side and get onto the side of my shoulder. So my foot's slightly wider than my knee. We're going onto the shoulder. See how my heel is inverted? So my toes are engaged with the floor. Try not to be here, otherwise you might stub your toes. You might end up getting mat burn as you go to push off. Next one is the back heist. So I get into a little bowl with my elbow close to my hip. I'm going to scissor my legs so I can start getting up. Now, I want to make sure this bottom leg ends up getting as far behind me as possible. So my knee, my hip, and my shoulder are in a straight line. If it's somewhere like this, it becomes a speed up to getting over. Okay. Same with the elbow position. When my elbow's up here, it becomes really slow to get up. So I get onto my side, kick the leg back behind me, drop this knee to the floor, and get up quickly. Okay. So here, up. Then we shoulder roll to get back. So my elbow goes on, or shoulder, goes onto the center line. Knees off the floor, bring my head in between my legs as I rock back. Elbow to hip, back heist, shoulder roll. And then finally, we need to be able to combine the bridge and the back heist. It's basically all three of those movements combined, right? So I drive off the floor, I bridge, I then hip escape, shooting my hips back. I then have my elbow close to my hip. This is the bit that most people struggle with. They end up leaving the elbow behind. We've got to make sure we bring the elbow back in. So the back heist is quick. I scissor my legs, and I get back up. So shoulder roll back to the start. Bridge, hip escape, back heist. Okay, bridge, hip escape, back heist. So this is something that is going to be key for this escape today. The quicker you can do this, the more confident you're going to be with the single leg escape. Make sure you solo drill it. You're going to get to the point where you don't have to think, right? It's like playing guitar. You're trying to learn 3 different chords at the moment. When you can combine all 3 and go between the 3, you don't need to think about it. And then you can just focus on hitting your escape. The last 2 weeks, we've looked at escaping side control, where Tom has locked hands. When Tom has locked hands and he's in a squared position, right, we looked at hitting that knee elbow escape. Okay, stealing all the inside and getting out. Okay, he wanted to stop that by straightening out his right leg and moving to a dropped hip. Now the knee elbow escape doesn't work, but then we looked at moving to the ghost escape, going out the back door. It's my near side arm that's causing him all of the problems. Okay, so this escape, it doesn't really matter whether he's in a dropped hip or in a squared side control. What matters, and your cue as to whether to hit this escape, is him unlocking his hands. And you can actually do this after he's just passed your guard. I don't actually want him to have locked hands. It kind of makes the escape a little bit harder. If he's just past my guard, he'll be down here. He has to perform a cranial shift where he goes from controlling my hips to moving up and pinning my head and shoulders. So if you move up and take cross face, then he takes his underhook, connects his hands, and then now I'm in a much worse situation, right? He's got better control here. Whether that's the case or he's here and he recognizes, so one of the ways he's going to look to advance is he needs to get inside of this elbow. If he can start shelving it, now he can pass to mount. Okay, he can't pass to mount without shelving that arm. If he tries to pass to mount without shelving the arm and he drives his knee across, as soon as his knee hits the floor, I can bridge and take him up and over because I've got that near side frame. Whether he has just passed your guard, as he goes to pin my head and shoulders, I end up blocking with his inside biceps tie. There's a little mini game here. He'll try and reach for my head, and as he goes to reach for my head, I flare my elbow. Problem is, as my elbow's flared, he can then start pommeling his hand to the inside and get his own inside biceps tie. Then he can easily get access to my head. So there's a little mini game here. So as he goes to reach for my head, I flare. As he goes to cut inside, I close my elbow. So there's this little mini game going back and forth. So as he tries to get hold of my head, so there's this little mini game here where I'm actively shutting this out. If he does start getting on the inside, right, I can give a little bump, in order to off balance him, to put his hands to the mat to get back. Now, whether that's the case or he had locked hands and now he's running into my elbow. He wants to beat the elbow. So what he might do is unlock his hands and look to grab my elbow and then lift it so then he can start sliding underneath. Okay, as soon as you recognize he's unlocked his hands, okay, I'm going to steal back that inside biceps tie. So he could be squared, he could be in a dropped hip. Okay, and as soon as he starts recognizing, oh, I'm going to start going out the back door, right? What he'll do is unlock his hands, and he might try to reach for my elbow or take his own underhook or block me from going out the back door. As soon as we recognize his hands are unlocked, we go to the inside biceps. When we have the inside biceps tie, if he's squared, right, it's so easy to hit this knee elbow escape. If he is in a dropped hip, the knee elbow escape becomes more difficult. Okay, but either way, when his hands are unlocked, I'm going to recommend that you look to wrestle up. Basically want an underhook on this side here. Now, if I just try to pommel in the underhook and I lead with my hand, he'll put a thumb in my armpit. It becomes hard to get my underhook. Now we can reach over the top and start threatening a Kimura. We can't just take the underhook. We want to off balance him. I'm going to look to bridge towards him. Now, as I bridge, I'm driving off the floor, getting to this position here. Now, I'm going to look to pommel in the underhook, but it becomes my elbow first. So I don't lead with my hand. If I lead with my hand, this is where he puts that thumb post in, and I can't get it. So we lead with our elbow. Okay, I still have the hand inside of his biceps. So this is where you do that hip escape. So I shoot my hips back, my head goes forward, and I bring my ear to his sternum. Now from here, this is the key point. My elbow has to come down into my hip so I can then scissor my legs and start getting up. Once we get to this position, Tom's in a dilemma. If he stays where he's at, I'm going to look to move and get straight onto his back, where I want to get my right ear to his back here. If I get my right ear to his back, he can't throw in a whizzer. If he tries to throw in a whizzer, it's really hard. Whereas if I bring my right ear here, he can reach over the top and put in this whizzer. So anytime I want to take his back, I'm looking to get my right ear to his back. As I start wrestling up, okay, if his hands are on the floor, we just move straight to here. But he will reach over the top and put in this whizzer. This stops me from getting access towards his back. However, it does open up other opportunities. So from here, I also want to make sure that my left hand controls his lower leg. So you've got several options when it comes to wrestling up. Okay, and this is called an underhook. So I have an underhook, he has an overhook. So if I go to the waist, I don't have great control of his rotation. So as I try to wrestle up, I go to the waist, right? He can start to turn and move towards front headlock, which is no good for me. I don't want him to take front headlock. I could move up to the far trap. Okay, this is one of the most secure underhooks. If he tries to go towards front headlock, I can kind of keep his head down. Okay, we can also start locking our hands, jousting, using this to rotate him and take pinch headlocks and things like this. That's not a bad option. You have a near side underhook. In this case, I wouldn't really use the near side underhook. It's good if we're standing. Near shoulder underhook is good for pulling, moving him around. Like if I wanted to throw him, I could use this to pull, and then I could start throwing him here. You got the tight waist underhook. This really exposes me to the whizzer. So if he starts to put whizzer pressure down, right, the shoulder pressure comes on. Now, I can pick my times when I want this, okay, but it's not at this point. Far trap is really good for the control, right? The near shoulder is good for pulling and off balancing, but I would avoid all three of these in this instance. I would immediately go to his leg instead. The reason I would control the leg is that if he tries to turn to face me and get to front headlock, you see how his hip is stuck in internal rotation. He can't rotate. I can also start to lift it and put weight into his hands. Okay, now from here, this frees up my legs to start running around, and I can now pass the control of his leg off to behind the back of my knee. So now I've got a free hand. So with my free hand, there's loads of options. I can start looking to limp arm and get it out, right? But what we're going to look at to start with is reaching for his other leg. I'm then going to draw it in. I'm going to then reach across and bring his knees together. So from here, I've broken him down, and now I've got to get around his legs. So what will generally happen here is he'll use his legs to start hooking onto me. If I just go to start passing around behind, I actually come onto this butterfly hook, and as I go to start putting him down, he'll use this butterfly hook to start elevating, turning my hips, and then there's a scramble to get on top. So we don't want that. My left hand is holding onto his ankle. What I'm actually going to do is walk his legs this way and bring my knee up. Now from here, I can then start to use my butterfly hook to remove this, okay, and start passing behind. Now as I start getting my head to his near shoulder, this puts him down. So from here, we're in that starting position. So I'm going to start reaching for his head, so he gets the biceps tie, he gets that cross shoulder. Okay, and from here, my hands are unlocked. He gives a bridge, gets his elbow inside my armpit, shoots his hips back, and gets his ear to my sternum. Scissors his legs and gets up. I have to put the whizzer in. Okay, if I leave my hand here, he's going to get my back. So the whizzer comes in. See how Tom's gone to the waist? That's a problem, because I can start turning. So he wants to instead go to the lower leg. Okay, when he grabs the lower leg, he gets a false grip on that lower leg. So now I can't turn to face him. So then he passes it off to the back of his knee. Okay, from here, he can now start to access the leg. So he's got a little bit of time, and later on we're going to go over what happens if they try to keep this away. But if the leg's on the floor, he can just grab it, bring my knees together, and start tackling me down. Right? What he's going to look to do is walk his knee this way. So he starts bringing my knee up. Then he can start out using that pommel to start passing behind. And from here, as he goes behind now to take side control, I don't want to keep this whizzer. So I'll take my hands out and I turn to face him, and I need to make sure he can't control my head. So from here, the drill starts again. Right? We bridge, elbow on the inside, shoot our hips back, ear to sternum, elbow to hip, scissor the legs. We get up and control his lower leg. Okay, we circle, get a hold of it with our legs. Access his leg, bring him down. Walk his leg up, out pommel, and pass. So you want to get to the point where you can wrestle up this quickly. And then once you get here, you've got time. Okay, we can kind of assess as to how far away that leg is. But if I ever see it on the floor, bring it down, pass behind, and we start again. This is a circular drill. Just go back and forth with your training partner and get loads of reps. Sometimes bridging into him can be difficult. And this is where we want to use the push-pull dynamic. So as I bridge into him, right, he might be pushing back hard into me. So now trying to turn and get onto my side is really difficult. But because he's got unlocked hands, right, what I can do is either slide to his armpit with this kind of false grip here. You could bring your hand to here as well. Okay, either one of these is fine. But what we're going to do, as I'm pushing into him, we're going to change direction and push the other direction, right? So I start going to here. And you see how he posted this hand on the floor. If he doesn't post a hand on the floor, so I bridge in, as he pushes back, right, he gets reversed, and that's no good for him. So he ends up posting his hand. So as he posts his hand, right, even just that small post there, my left hand now can start going underneath. When we're doing this one, you'll lead with the hand. From here, I'm currently on the wrong hip. So what I need to do is that reverse hip escape. So I scoot my hips underneath and I face the ceiling. Now from here, I do a bridge up and over my right shoulder, right, and I get my ear to his sternum, elbow to hip. We scissor our legs and everything remains the same. Now as we get up, we're going to look to lift and get access to his ankle. So this time, he's been here before, right? He's not going to let me get access to that lower leg. What do we do in this instance? My left hand is now going to change up to the waist. So if he puts that whizzer pressure on, starts doing this, it's exactly what I want anyway. So I'm going to hold his waist. I'm going to look to bring my right hand underneath his hamstring, and my shoulder is going to block his knee. Now from here, we hit a shoulder roll, and this takes him up and over. And from here, we're in that same position. We walk, his knees here, we out pommel, and we pass behind. Trying to bridge, and I feel him pushing really hard into me. Okay, we change direction, making him post. We take our underhook. What we need to do is a big reverse hip escape. So I'm not trying to like scoot down like this. I'm going to reach my legs out, see how my toes are engaged with the floor, and I'm going to look to do that reverse hip escape action of bring my butt to my hips. Right. So as I do this, you see how this takes him all the way up and overhead. Then I can turn and get up. Right. If I didn't get far enough, let's say I only got to here, and my head still isn't underneath his sternum, this is where you could give an extra bridge to get down and underneath. But a lot of the time, right, I take him here, right? See how I reach down? I'm not like up at the armpit, I'm kind of like down mid tricep. Toes engaged with the floor. When I do this reverse hip escape, you see how this gets me most of the way out. Now make sure you don't leave this arm behind. This has to come down with you. You can scissor your legs and get up. We lift his lower leg and we pass it behind the back of our knee. He steps that leg up, and from here, I can't get access to it. We change to the waist, bring our hand behind his hamstring, shoulder in front of his knee. We hit the shoulder roll here. Okay, from here, exactly the same. Hook his leg past, pass behind. Remember how I said at the start, anytime he posts his hand here, we can get his back. All I gotta do is get my ear to his back. So when you hit this roll through sweep, he's in a dilemma. So he puts the whizzer in, steps the leg up. So this time, if I go to roll and he doesn't want to go with me, if he keeps the whizzer, he's going to roll with me. If he posts his hand out here, he's not going to go down. However, now there's nothing stopping me from getting access to the back. So from here, I'd use a pendulum to sit up and I get my right ear to his back. If I get my right ear to his back, he can't get his whizzer back. So from here, he goes to try and stop me from getting up and around behind him. It's difficult. So that's the dilemma you play when you hit that roll through sweep. If he posts out, you take the back. If he doesn't post out and keeps the whizzer, he's going to get rolled through. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind.